Welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm your host, Dr. Jane Mountrose, and I'm very, very happy to be here with a good friend of mine, Babs, Barbara May Clark, as she is formerly known. And today we're here with a very special focus of opening to the emergence of spring. We're both ministers of holistic healing with Awakenings Institute. We're spiritual guides, spiritual teachers, coaches, many more things, all things spiritual, I guess, right, Babs? That might be a way to describe what we are, what we do. It's all things spiritual. Anyhow, so here we are. The spring equinox was last week, and that is the day when the length of night and day are equal. So now we're getting, so the days are longer and the light is emerging. As the saying goes, to everything there is a season. And as we cycle through the seasons into spring, we can focus on the cyclical nature of the year. And I think we'll talk about cycles in general, because it's interesting how many cycles we're actually engaged in within our own consciousness and in our lives. So we're going to be looking at the opportunities that are here for us at this time, this special time of planting seeds, both physically and energetically and metaphorically, you could say. So it also is interesting, in addition to the emergence of spring, we also have a full moon tomorrow, which is it is a very present factor for us when we're in those full moon phases, because they're the times also when the tides are the broadest, especially at the full moons, more than the new moons. And that means that the water in our bodies, and we're mostly water, it's an unstable time for us. There's a lot happening within us with the full moon too. So here we have another very important cycle, one that I think impacts us quite a bit. That we're in at the same time. So we can bring awareness to these cycles and the deeper meaning behind them, to open to opportunities for growth and for living. Also, it's about living in harmony with what is. Because if say the cycle that we're in is inviting us, like with the full moon, to be in a state of fullness, then it makes sense for us to embrace that. And the same with spring. We're in a cycle of emergence, not emergency, emergence of new light and life. So we want to embrace that. Anyhow, we're going to bring in, and this will be very interesting. I actually haven't ever done this before, not even in my own personal meditation. So we're going to bring the goddess of spring in our meditation to support us in opening to the opportunities ahead. And I think when we do these kinds of things, I'm very excited, because I think connecting with that energy is going to help us to embrace it more too, because that goddess is here to support us in this season, which is very exciting. Anyhow, as usual, before we begin, I want to thank you for being with us, for being a source of love and light for the world. We all have the opportunity here to heal, to grow, and to expand our awareness, and to stand up as beacons of light for the world. So there are many opportunities here. And Babs and I were talking about how these opportunities are here for the two of us as much as everybody else. And in a way, we might get almost the most of it, although everybody has an opportunity to get the most. But it is such a great opportunity for us to expand and grow, and through sharing, I think we receive. Yeah. So thank you again for being here. One last thing I want to do, and I'm trying to settle myself here a little bit. Before we begin, we start with just breathing. And it's such a powerful thing. We have the opportunity in any moment to ask the universe and all the beings of light around us to support us in opening to the best in ourselves and in this opportunity that we have together. So just a few beautiful breaths of the most amazing energy for you. Love, light, peace, happiness, whatever that is, harmony. And as you exhale, just releasing, letting go of anything that feels heavy in your body or around you. Just breathing in light. And I feel that Amaryllis, the goddess of spring, is already here with us. So grateful. So we're breathing in that spring energy. And again, just releasing any of the dead wood, you could say, any of those things that we don't need as we move into this new time. Good. That feels so good. Just to bring our awareness and our just our fullness to the moment together. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to you, Babs, to lead us on where we might be going today with your insights.
Yeah, so I just love, there's a couple things when you were talking that came to mind. Like when you were talking about the full moon and the fluidity. It's also, we talked a little bit before we got on, was just the in spring there is this fluidity, there is this sense of, sometimes it still gets a little bit cold, and sometimes it gets bright and sunny in springtime. And then
Sometimes all in one day.
all in one day,
We're
yeah.
having all of that today.
Right. And for me, it feels like just being able to embrace that and not judge it, and embrace the even the changes within the full moon. I actually am a person who loves the full moon, and find actually really beautiful grounding in it. And maybe it's because I'm just embracing what is in that moment. I'm embracing the changes. And I think part of being able to embrace change is being able to know that that we as beings are secure, that we are connected to source, that we are that we do have a grounding. Sometimes in the midst of change, seasonal change, moon phase changes, we feel like we're kind of free floating, maybe. But
Hmm.
and to remember that we are grounded, and
Right.
maybe that's the sense that Amaryllis might bring us. I don't know, but my mom was given a gift of an amaryllis pot just recently,
Hmm.
um, and the
Interesting.
bulbs came up, and they've already bloomed, so they've already had their spring. But it was like there is this latent potential within the bulbs, and this beautiful energy. Amaryllis's energy is just makes it grow, and it's beautiful. So if we can ground ourselves in that source of energy, in that sense of um, that we're held, that we're loved, then the fluidity doesn't rock us so much when we go into these different shifts. I don't know if
Hmm.
that makes sense, but it's this sense of being able to know that, even in the midst of change, even in the midst of spring change, even in the midst of the lunar phase changes, that as a being, our beingness is secure, is held, and then really leaning into that. And just I part of me thinks it's just so much fun, like being when you're grounded, you can enjoy the rides, like when you're on a roller coaster,
Right.
like roller coasters, but you're strapped in, so you can enjoy the ride.
Hmm.
I think there's that part of that grounding, that we know that then we can just enjoy what spring offers, and the beauty and the changes and the bursting forth of new things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The way you were describing that reminded me too when I was writing out the description of what we were doing today earlier. Also, I felt like my magical child came in. There is also, you can open to that childlike wonder, the wildflowers. And that's something I love in Sacramento where Babs is.
Yeah.
Spring is so beautiful, the trees blooming and the wildflowers, just such amazing displays of life that spring forth from seemingly out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Um, it is. I think both of us are feeling enlivened just talking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
That it
Yeah.
is so inspiring.
Yeah, it's that beauty. I think it's kind of like the extravagance of the creator. The just this, like, these splashes of color, these amaryllis. I mean, the blooms were like literally this
Wow.
big, literally
Right.
big, and the stalks, they just, you could watch them. I kept taking pictures like every day.
How
How
much they would grow.
they grow, and then these beautiful flowers. It's just this extravagance, uh,
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
abundance
Yeah.
that's available. And I think that we can just, well, I think the problem comes when we want to cling on to it, like to say, oh, I'm going to keep this
Right.
flower.
We can't keep it.
Keep it. It's just to be
Yeah.
enjoyed. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that child, like what you were talking about, that magical child, that inner child that just enjoys life and is in the moment of what life is offering. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the beauty,
Right.
you know, and fully
Mm-hmm.
experiencing what life is offering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And we were talking, I might as well read. I was
Yeah.
sharing with Babs some of the things that I read about the goddess Amaryllis and about spring energy. And I thought it was very interesting. So I think I'll just read it to you. The goddess Amaryllis is the spirit of spring. And it's interesting for those who have connected with other spring goddesses. There's, I think in Greek mythology, there's Persephone, and Roman, there's Flora. To me, they're all representatives probably of the same. It's probably the same goddess. I mean, that's the way I look at it. It just as represented in different cultures.
Yeah.
Whatever, however you look at it, we're connecting. Where our intention in connecting with this goddess is to connect with the spirit of spring. This youthful goddess personifies the power of spring to revitalize our creative potential, enlivening our soul's desire to fulfill our roles in the divine plan. And
Hmm.
this is the thing, these divine beings have this huge, they're looking at this huge view, the divine plan. We're not generally thinking, well, today I'm realizing my role in the divine plan.
Mhm.
And yet, when we follow our hearts and souls, that's what we're doing. So we're fulfilling a larger role as a whole. Amaryllis embodies the vibrance of spring that activates the force of the creator within us. So if you felt over the winter kind of sleepy in relation to what you envision for yourself, this is a time when that might be changing. The angels and elementals serving with Amaryllis, these are the ones who are um, supporting the form of all these wildflowers and the growth of the plants in the spring and nurturing the spring itself. Elementals serving with Amaryllis radiate a divinely inspired frequency that produces a rebirth within nature and assists us in experiencing a spiritual rebirth to overcome that kind of dead, I mentioned dead wood,
Yeah.
that that kind of dead energy of winter, which
Mhm.
we're now leaving behind us. The elemental beings of earth, fire, air, and water adore this divine goddess and follow her lead with an outpouring of her love for all things living. And I think this is really important to think about too, that we are always co-creating with nature. We don't, I think very few of us think of it or recognize that it is through that kind of union with nature, although people do experience it, that oneness with nature. When we can experience that sense of unity, it's so life enhancing.
Yeah.
And also just to be able to return our love to them
Mhm.
for the blessings that they're providing to us, because there are so many right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that that it's awakening. Yours written down. I wrote down that creative potential within us. You know,
Right.
there's so much creativity out in spring, but it's also the reminder that we have this creative potential, that we are also, like you said, these creators
Hmm.
who are part of this beautiful plan. I don't know if plan is the right word for me, but
Well,
this
the divine plan, we're
unfold,
all,
yeah,
yeah,
this
we all have
unfold.
a role in the plan.
Yes, yeah, this, yeah, we're all, and to embrace that, which can be scary for some people. That can be, it can be, it's like, oh, what does it, what happens to me? What happens to myself? But I think what we forget is that it's actually our truest self, that
Right.
creator, that the other part is just kind of a smaller ego made self that can't tap into that same kind of creative potential energy that we're being offered.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. And it's not something that we have to like overthink, because it is, if we're opening to love and opening to embracing the things we love and the energy of aliveness that comes from that creative spirit within us. We don't have to ask, well, am I really, is this really in alignment with the divine plan? If
Yes.
we're feeling it, it is.
Yeah.
If you're
Agree.
feeling that sense, if it makes you feel more alive, if it makes you experience that kind of oneness,
Mm.
or that wonder of the being in oneness with everything that is, and just seeing yourself, we're sometimes it's overwhelming to me. I think, well, there are billions of people on Earth. What do I matter? But we're all so important. Our contributions, each of us, are so important.
Yeah. 100%. And I
Yeah.
also was thinking when you were talking, it's the elemental spirits, but also Mother Earth, Gaia. This is a
Right.
beautiful time to. I personally kind of feel like sending more love and energy towards. I mean, I always receive back, but this is a time where the Earth, she's working so hard. She's bringing forth all this beauty for us to just really
Mm-hmm.
give back that love, that gratitude to the earth,
Mm-hmm. Right.
to work in the soil if you're a person who likes to do that. Get in the dirt and dig, plant some seeds, um,
Mm-hmm.
and really feel, the energy of the earth as you're planting, as you're digging, as you're cleaning up like you said, cleaning up the dead wood. I was out gardening the other
Mm-hmm.
day,
Right.
pulling all
Weeding. Right.
weeding, lots of weeding. There's these things that we can cooperate with and enjoy the energy and the beauty of the spring and what the earth is.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Spring is the time of bringing in new life. And that's the thing that is so exciting. I realize also we're in the northern hemisphere. For people in the southern hemisphere, this obviously is very on the opposite kind of end, or yeah, opposite end of the spectrum. Where now uh, the nights are becoming longer than the days, and
Mhm.
moving into really appreciating the fullness of what has been created through the most recent spring. So um, it's fascinating, but it is, if we look at cycles, there we have so many cycles that are kind
Mhm.
of occurring all at once. We have the cycle of the day.
Yeah.
Um, you could say there are four parts of the day, and I'll be talking about that in meditation a little bit. And then there are the four seasons of the year, and then there are the four phases of the moon, and you can divide it up even more. But four major phases, with the full moon and the new moon, and then the halfway in between each one, all of that. And then another interesting thing that Babs brought up too when we were talking earlier is we're in phases of our lives. Some of us may be in the springs of our lives, and others in the summer. Some of us may be in the fall, and some in the winter. And so when we're looking at, well, how do we embrace what is here for us as spring arrives? That's a factor too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the things you had said earlier was that even if we're like in the winter, in the quote unquote winters of our lives, there's still things that can be birthed within us within that winter. There still is
Mm-hmm.
this sense of within that season, there is these mini seasons. I don't know if it's a mini season or what it is, but there's still this new life that is coming, that is being brought forth. And maybe it looks different. Maybe it's on the spiritual plane versus when our bodies begin to slowly decline. We
Mm-hmm.
into, we can begin to see what it is that is being trying to be birthed within us, because I think there's always this new birth that's within us.
Mm-hmm. Right. And being a person in and I'm in my 70s now, um, I talk a lot with different people who are also in that 60s, 70s, 80s range. And often people will ask, well, can I really start something new? And I think that is only a question for your heart.
Mm.
Like, is this the time for me to start something new? Am I really motivated? Do I feel like I'm inspired
Mhm.
to create something new, even though I'm in this season that generally is in uh, associated with decline.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at being, I call it mature,
Mhm.
being at a full level of maturity, and then bringing in new life and offering, bringing forth what you have received, the blessings from all of those years that have brought you to where you are. It is a great blessing for the world.
Oh, it's an amazing, yeah.
As
Yes.
it's true with all the seasons we're in.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. And I think it's one thing that came to mind also is that like in even for whatever season we're in, it's being intentional about the planting. If
Right. Yeah.
feeling if you're feeling called at this moment within your heart, like I know in my own journey, I'm beginning a new practice, and it's being intentional about that planting, being intentional about what it is that I'm planting and tending to that, and
Mm-hmm.
now is the time to begin to really I don't know if the right word is, but just to plant and to be intentional about what you're planting.
Mm-hmm. Right. And be very well, you mentioned intentional, just to be very aware of the limits, because
Yes.
it's easy to say, oh, it's spring,
Yeah.
I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
within another month, it's like, oh, I'm worn
Yeah.
out.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. 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 Yeah, to be in touch with, maybe to be in touch with Amaryllis about what it is that we're being invited to plant in this season.
Hmm. Right. What is really important? And again, the answer is in the heart.
Right.
So we have the answers within us. We need to uh, connect with that, and just to really be aware that our focus is on the most important things. It's like you were saying, if you leave the weeds in, it's like I'm keeping this, I'm keeping everything, then I'm going to add all these new things. There
Yeah.
may not be any room between the the weeds for new seeds to be able to germinate.
Yeah. True.
So it is a time. I think all of the seasons
Mhm.
offer opportunities for reflection, and our opportunity here is really weeding out those things that are not important and then nurturing the ones that are as we move into the fullness toward the fullness of summer, and
Yeah.
appreciating the energy. I love the longer days.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you can feel the energy building. I look this way, this is the window.
I got a window here that I like to look at.
I look here through the window, and here is my bookcase. So I have the outer
Lucky.
world and the inner world.
There you go. Yeah, yeah, I got my little window. But this one I can see, I do have, like you were talking about. So I have a variety of fruit trees out there, and so my
Are they blooming?
they are, yeah. So
Yeah.
I can
Oh,
see I have
that's
my
so beautiful.
cherry tree and my pear and my that's a nectarine back there. So
Wow. Yum.
yeah.
Yeah, that's always it's so wonderful when you have fruit trees and the fruits.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like it's also the same thing. Like we plant the seeds, but we kind of like we can't make it grow. You know,
No,
we can't plant the
right.
ground. We can't make it. We can just keep putting ourselves in the sunlight of the spirit. We can keep putting ourselves in the, watering the little soil of our soul. But we
Hmm.
can't make it grow. That's the
Hmm.
beautiful thing, and that's we can do our part, but the outcome is not completely up to
Our own, right, right. We can send love though, and I
100%.
we have some really beautiful mature cypress trees that
Mhm.
surround our yard. The Italian cypress, really big,
Yeah,
tall.
yeah.
And some of those trees, at least in our area, have been dying off. I think in California with the drought, which is not here now, but that we've gone through, a lot of the um, the trees like pines and the,
Mhm.
what do you call them? The ones that don't die off in the winter.
The
Um,
evergreens.
Evergreens. A lot of the evergreen trees have suffered. I know that many, many, many have died. And some of ours were looking like they weren't doing very well. They were producing a lot of acorns, which is another thing they do when they feel like they're dying. You know,
Yes.
you'll find pine trees and stuff if you see they're trying to reproduce quickly before the opportunity
Yeah,
is
yeah.
gone. I started sending them love
Yeah.
and also love to the nature spirits who were supporting them, and now they're back.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm so happy because they're mature, and you can't just say, well, this one's gone, I'll put another one there. You know,
Right.
maybe another 20 years
Right.
it'll be where this one is.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's one of the amazing things with life that,
Mhm.
well, I think anything we can love is supportive. Can love and nurture each other too. So that's, of course, that's what we're here for. Interesting. Love and nurture the love in the world, because with love, so much more is possible.
Yep. It's so true. And I think loving ourselves, learning to love ourselves, and sometimes that's the hardest person to love. Sometimes those
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really hard,
Mm-hmm.
but we can grow in that. And I think
Mm-hmm.
spring can help us, and connecting with the spirit of spring, connecting with creator can help us learn to love ourselves well.
Mm-hmm. And the angels, all of the beings, that's the thing
It's light,
with
yes.
it's been such a focus for me and for Philip and many people. I think you included, to connect with the angels and masters and divine beings, the elemental, the nature spirits all around us that can hold us with love. And they do, but they are limited unless we ask. But if we ask, and we can, when we go into our meditation and open to the love that Amaryllis brings,
Yeah.
um, we'll see. I think it's very nurturing.
Yeah.
Something I felt after I started to connect a lot with the archangels
Hmm.
is the love is so profound.
Yeah.
And I think you were mentioning Mother Earth, love from Mother Earth. If you, whatever, if I ever, when I ever, I shouldn't say if, when I send love to Mother Earth, and we can just do that now, just say, I love you. Thank you so much, Mother Earth. I love you, and I send you my love. Just feel. And to me, I always feel love coming back. Very profound sense of love. And of course, everything is connected.
Yeah. Yeah. I always feel it like coming up for my feet. I always
I do. I can,
my
to
feet
me, it's
grounded.
very tangible.
Yeah.
And it happens every time. Walking down the street,
Yeah.
looking around, I might say, oh, thank you, Mother Earth, for this glorious day.
Yeah.
And I can feel her love.
Yep. 100%.
And that supports us in loving ourselves too.
Yep.
Just being saturated with love.
Yep. And like you said, I think the other thing is clearing out some of that dead wood within us
Right.
that
That's true, because
that
it
gets put
creates
in
a
the block.
sludge.
And there's a sludge, there's some blockages, and so yeah, if you're imagining your system all cleaned out of all that, then it flows much easier and you can experience it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's very important. I think that's something that seems to come up in just about all the meditations I do. And generally I start there about, you're breathing in light, you're letting go of the heaviness.
Yeah,
And it is really when we release more of that heaviness and that sludge, there's more room for the light, and
exactly.
it can flow more freely, which
Hmm.
then it has a it has a reaction all through our system. We're mostly water physically, but actually we're mostly space between molecules. We're mostly air. And what
Yeah.
we want is for that air to be nice and clear so it can blow freely through
Mhm.
us.
Yep. Yep. That energy,
Light.
light, light.
Yeah, bring light through us. So,
Yep.
ready for the meditation? Looks like it's
I am, and I
just
don't know.
about
I
time.
don't have the screens, but just, I don't know if anybody's made any comments, but we just want to
Oh, I forgot all about that.
moment to say thank you for being with us. And
Yes, thank you for being with us. There's nothing, I forgot to mention that at the beginning too, that we certainly appreciate If you let us know you're here and where you're from, if you're new, and feel free to comment, ask questions, whatever inspires you in your heart. So yeah, thanks for reminding me, Babs. Okay, so with that, what we're going to do is just go to a mystical hilltop, beautiful spring hilltop. So we're going to start, as I mentioned, again, breathing. So if you're in a safe place to close your eyes, it's a good time. And just breathing in the most perfect love and light for you from the universe. And if you don't know what that is, just ask for the perfect love and light, the one that is most nurturing and nourishing for you in this moment. As you breathe that in, and then as you exhale, releasing any heaviness, any energy any incoherent energy, which we receive a lot of from the world around us. And just anything in the body that's ready to release. Sending that love and that light all through your body, all through that ball of energy around you that is your energy field. And as you send that love and light into the body, you can focus on areas, if there are areas that are not well, or that that you maybe don't love. Like, I hate my whatever. Any of those, you can just send love there. Because all of us, every part of us deserves love. And then imagining it going into all of the cells of your body and asking any energy that is not your own. As was suggested earlier, we pick up energy from other people, other times and places. Just ask any energy that is not your own to go back where it came from and send it lovingly. And similarly, bringing any energy of your own that you've left in other times, places, with other people, all of those kinds of things. Just bring it back. So you might feel like there's more of you here now to be present in the moment as you continue to send love into all of the cells of your body, love and light. And as we do this, we can invite the goddess Amaryllis to join us and ask her to bless us with an outpouring from her to us of the love and light that she holds, that spring energy. Again, inviting it into all of the cells of your body, all around you. And having invited her, you might feel the difference. Can also, maybe you see her in your mind's eye. Maybe you have an image of her. Maybe she's wanting to talk to you. We receive connections with these beings of light in different ways, and each of us has a unique way of receiving. So just open to whatever the experience of being with Amaryllis, the goddess of spring, whatever that is for you. And with that, we can imagine now going on a beautiful journey onto a, you could say, a mystical hilltop in maybe a higher dimension with the goddess Amaryllis, and with as a representation of spring. It is a spring hilltop with all of the wildflowers and trees blossoming and the leaves growing and the birds chirping and the butterflies flying around. whatever is there on this spring hilltop for you. And just feeling that energy, feeling grounded to the earth and receiving her love too, sending love to the earth and receiving her gratitude. And also from this place on the hilltop, you may be able to see out You may have an expansive view of the world around you, the glorious beauty of the earth, and the nature spirits, all of the spirits of the four elements, fire, air, water, and earth, all of them playing their roles in creating the most vibrant spring imaginable, the perfect spring for you on this mystical mountaintop or mystical hilltop. We're on a hilltop today. This is the kind of a place also where you can lie in the grass and feel the sun. Just there's so many possibilities here. It's a place where you go and have a picnic. This is a place also where you might meet with your magical child. We talk about the magical child, that child within you who has not lost her connection or his or her connection with your wholeness, who is indeed a teacher for you. A teacher, especially at this time of newness, a teacher about the blessings of life, viewing it as a magical experience, being energized by the newness of it. And with this, I also want to connect with the four directions, which are often associated with nature and with the seasons. And if we now focus our energy on the direction to the north, this is the direction that's related to nighttime often. And I mention that because we can envision ourselves in that nighttime, and from there emerging out to the east, to the dawn. And you may see that from your hilltop. Just see yourself at dawn, the emergence of the emergence of a new day, the dawning of a new day, the dawning of a new spring season. Something new that wasn't there next year. And it is so profound, reflecting on it now, how if you imagine yourself a year ago, you may recognize that you're a completely different being than you were then. That you have opportunities that were not there then. Because you were not the being then that you are now. So there are possibilities here that may not have ever been here for you before. You can ask yourself, what is dawning in my life now? And we can ask for Amaryllis to support us with that light of the dawn, the light of emergence. Also, the nature spirits all around us here on the hilltop. All supporting us in opening to this new spring. And demonstrating to us or showing us the flowers are blooming, the trees are growing greener, that beautiful, beautiful green leaves that come out in the trees in the spring. And even the evergreens are looking brighter and appreciating this new light and energy. And the water, you may be looking out from this hillside or hilltop onto the ocean or a lake, a river. Maybe there's a river nearby, a bubbling brook with that beautiful water that comes with the spring, with the thawing of snow where you are maybe, or with the beautiful spring showers. And with those, of course, that cleansing that the water provides. So you can feel that, maybe feel just a little bit like a little spring shower running over us and allowing it to clear out anything that wants to be released, anything that feels heavy, so we can be lighter and brighter. And then turning to the south, The south is generally recognized as representing the summer. So it is the fullness. Like, there's also the full moon. So we're in the full moon, the brightest time of the lunar phase. And of course, the sun is shining more brightly on us here with the spring energy too. So we can receive that frequency of it is life force, the fire energy, the sun. It is the light that allows the seeds to germinate. And within us, our temperature rises when, for women, when we're ovulating, when it's time to begin a new life. So there is that life energy, and just also focus on that sun shining, how important it is for the sun to shine on this area around you, within you too, just receiving that light from source. And noticing what feels like it's in a state of fullness right now with the full moon. And then turning to the west, which is the direction that we face as the sun sets in the afternoon, associated with the element of water. Again, whatever season we're in, we have an opportunity to allow ourselves to sink into the depths, the water, the deep, glorious cleansing water. Maybe there are things that you're aware of now that, as we mentioned, with weeding and clearing out those things that need to be released so that you can open more fully to spring. And of course, the elemental spirits, the nature spirits, are here to produce the most cleansing waters possible. And they're faced with a lot of challenge from mankind. Yet we also still have the opportunity to, in our imaginations, to surround ourselves with the most healing water. And if you take a bath, it can be in the most healing water. And when you drink, you can ask those nature spirits to support you by producing the most vibrantly beautiful, nurturing water. Because they cooperate with us. They want to cooperate with us. They want to cooperate with us, opening more to the divinity within us. And they can make a difference. And we can make a difference for them by supporting them. So we can experience that glorious, glorious healing water. And then drawing our attention back to the north, to the nighttime. And of course, we have nighttime every 24 hours. So every evening we have the opportunity to just allow ourselves to slow down and relax and maybe integrate. What is it that we need to integrate in those quiet hours, so that in the morning we can open again to the newness of life? And just allowing Amaryllis to bless us in all of those hours of the day. And feel her presence. We have an elemental body. If that makes any sense. There are elemental beings who are co-creating our bodies with us. And of course, that nighttime is a wonderful time just to ask for whatever needs to be integrated and healed to occur in a beautiful way for you. And to open to what your body might want to say to you. about your health, about your energy, about maybe about what you're eating. Are you eating the things that are most nurturing and nourishing for your body to be able to support you in realizing your own divine plan? It seems like there's a long distance between those two, but there really isn't. Everything is connected. And again, we can ask for our food to be blessed. That idea of starting a meal with a prayer, asking for your food to be blessed. Practical idea. Asking your whole life to be blessed. And feeling that connection with the light of Source shining down on you. Connection with the Creator, Him and herself. Knowing that everything is in divine order for you now. And knowing that you are a co-creator with all of these other beings of your life, supported by the Creator. And feeling that sense of oneness and love. And in your own meditations, you could just sit in this love for whatever period of time feels right to you. Being in that place of connectedness and oneness with everything and everyone, all the beings who are supporting you, all the angels and masters also who are around us right now. Our guardian angels, spirit guides, blessing us. And for now, we're going to return to our normal worlds, remembering that you can come back to this beautiful hilltop anytime. You can lie in the grass. You could put your feet in the wandering brook, whatever feels right, and know that all of nature is supporting you if you request it. All you have to do is ask. And Amaryllis thanks us for our attention. And we can also express our gratitude to her, to our Creator, to all the beings around us. As we focus on drifting back gently to where we started, putting our feet firmly on the ground and sending love down to Mother Earth, grounding us to the earth, to our lives on Earth. And breathing in more active energy. As we return to our normal waking states. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Jane. It's beautiful.
You're welcome. That felt so good.
It's lovely. Yeah.
I think it's rare that we recognize how supported we are. Mm-hmm. And how much of a difference we can make with our intention.
Yeah.
And with sharing love with all of those amazing beings who are supporting us, all the way down into creating our bodies. Our bodies are physical things that are created.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It's all, I always like to think of us like we're all part of this greater whole. You know, it's all connected, all part of this oneness.
Mm-hmm. Right. Definitely true.
Really unfolding. So, yeah,
mm-hmm.
beautiful. And sense of lots of, I can't even describe, but beautiful green, like this green ethereal like light just throughout the whole meditation, and just letting go of the dead wood, and you know, in a sense, a beautiful sense of Creator and Source and light.
Well, and
So,
traveling, I think, makes me think of traveling up and down the coast and around California, which becomes pretty dry in the summer. In
yeah.
the spring, the hills, those green hillsides,
Yes.
just
Yeah,
the most vibrant, the most beautiful imaginable green.
it is. It's
Um,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, that's here right now.
It's very beautiful.
You know,
I'll get to drive tomorrow and I'll get to see some of those. So I'll think
ooh,
of
where are you going?
just to Walnut Creek. I have a friend who came in from Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. There is though, between Sacramento and Walnut Creek, you go through Vacaville and then you get into those
Oh,
green mountains or hills,
the
which
hills.
those are the ones I love in the spring. I used to love that. To me, it's so awesome.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Green,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful life. It's a life. There's so
Yes.
much life force.
Well, and it felt like it was all within me. It's all like kind of it was beginning, it was weaved in and then through and then out, like in and through and out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that
Right.
sense of being connected, that life
Mm-hmm.
that is connecting all of us.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Cool.
So we can now send some of that
Mhm.
spring love out around us. And of course, the general idea is if we are in a place of oneness, of uh, vibrating a frequency of love and joy and peace and magical child and all those things, it is radiating out from us. We can also amplify it,
Mhm.
sending that love out where to our communities, to people who need love right now. Again, think of Sharon from the circle. She's been going through some challenges and she's in recovery. We can send her love. The places in the world that are struggling, so many places that are suffering from famine and war and hatred, division, can send them love.
Mhm.
I have my little planet here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Planet in a drawer.
Planet
Just
Earth.
I like this. You can get these on Amazon.
Yeah.
They're really beautiful. Just sending love to the world. And it does matter. It does make a difference. You make a difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say, well, I wish I could do more. Just be more. If you are more and intend for the world to be a more loving place, then you are a very important contributor to the world.
Yeah.
And if you can just talk one other person into, into it, it also is, it's so interesting because the energy of love, harmony, peace, joy, all of those things, um, it is nurturing to
Mhm.
life within us. It increases longevity.
Yeah.
People wonder, well, how can I, I feel like I have less and less energy every year. Well, you can have more.
Yeah.
You can.
You can. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
here. You just have to you have to accept it.
Yeah.
And you have to do the work of releasing those things that are not serving you and not serving your purpose.
Yeah.
That's a part of it, to create more space for the energy to flow freely through you, around you, all over.
Yeah. For sure.
But it's all good. I mean, what could be more pleasant?
I'm just so grateful to be alive at this time and to be able to be
Hmm.
here and to be witnessing all the amazing things that are happening in our world right now.
Right. Yeah.
We
And
have,
there are wonderful things.
oh yeah, yeah.
I think if we're tuned into the media, life
Mm,
looks bleak, but we
yes.
don't have to be part of that
Mhm,
reality. There are different realities here.
mhm. There are.
It's a choice. We don't realize sometimes that we have a very simple choice.
Yeah, we do. For sure.
So, with that, Babs, would you like to tell people how they can connect with you and what you're doing?
Sure, sure, sure. Anybody can connect with me. Probably the best way is on my website is purplelotuscollective.com. So purplelotuscollective.com. And my phone number is there. You can text, or I think there's an email there too. So text or email is probably the best way to get to me. And I do, like what Jane said, anything revolving around spirituality, basically.
Right.
But holistic health
That's an
coaching,
easy way to say it.
yeah, coaching and meditation coaching. I do love to help people if they're beginning a meditation practice to learn how to do that. And yeah, and also especially people who've been traumatized by traditional religion.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
Right.
And still are a lot of times. I think I even still experience some little bits of that from past lives and different things that have impacted me.
Yep.
So it's nothing to be ashamed of. Wherever you feel blocked, it's never something to feel ashamed of. It's just because it's just those are the illusions. We talk about illusions.
Yeah.
And those are the illusions that we can release, just open to more of our magnificence. So it's all
100%.
good.
Yep. 100%. Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you, Babs. And Awakenings Institute, we have a free resource kit for light workers, spiritual healers, and way shores. Anything spiritual. Again, he's right to define it. It's anything if you're interested in anything spiritual.
Yep.
I'm going to give you a tiny URL because our website has long ones. tinyurl.com/spiritual-kit. And what that will do is take you to gettingthrough.org, which is where we describe everything. And we have a website that's been there since the 90s. That's why the URLs are so long. It's a big website. gettingthru.org/spiritual is a good place to start. There are different parts of it and many different things that you can access there. So with that, I also want to mention you can support the circle by following our page on Facebook, by sharing the video with your friends of the Sunday Circle, just inviting people to open to more love and light in their lives, which is a blessing to each. And invite your friends to join you on Facebook live on the circle, and then you have something interesting to talk about. If you think, well, I don't know, what can we talk about? Here's something, spring. So the final thing that we do before we go on our ways is send that love and light that we have collected in the circle out to the week ahead of you, blessing it, just blessing that week ahead with love and light. And again, thank you for being with us. We hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.